Hi, everybody. This is Dr. Harmon. I'm your instructor in BISS 1123 Business Problem Analysis. And as we move through Access, I'm going to try to accomplish a couple of things. First of all, I'm going to use some new software at the university that we've used, an application we've licensed called Zoom. This lets me record meetings and record videos and so forth. And I'm going to try to use it to cover some of these access cases so that after you go from class, if you still have some confusion or questions, you can go back and look at the textbook, and you can also look back at the recording. So I'm going to go through a case pretty rapidly. Now, I want to say this. This is not a substitute for class time. You really do need to be in the class because I'm going to go through a fairly abbreviated look at this and pretty quickly. So I won't be stopping to answer questions or stopping for people or anything like that. You can replay this thing. You can scroll forward and backward. It'll be a video. What will happen is I will send you an email telling you that I've posted a link to the recording in Moodle. So you're going to have to go through Moodle, and I'll know if you logged in or not. But it's there for you. And I'll try to do this after every case that we do in Access because I know those cases can be a little bit confusing. And as usual, again, this is no substitute whatsoever for the class time. It's just a supplement what we're doing in class. Now, I'm recording this and I'm going to be able to share my screen, and what will happen when I share the screen is you're going to see me up in the corner, hopefully, and you'll see the rest of the screen. So I'm going to click share screen here. And I'm going to share my desktop basically. And you should see me up here in the corner. And then you should see this is the page for BISS 1123. Wrong one. BISS 4403. I need to be on BISS 1123. So let me pop over there real quick. Pardon me. Sorry about that, folks. Now I'm going to go to section A. And of course, section A and B, we do the same thing. So, yeah, no big deal there. And as you'll notice, it's a little different setting. I'm, of course, in my home office. Now, we're going to work on this, and we're going to go over, first of all, and get the Solvit student files. Okay. And as you scroll down here, you're going to see familiar all these Excel files we've worked with in the cases in the Solvit textbook. And you're going to see a thing called Solvit Chapter 5 ACCDB. These are the access cases, all right? And I want you to put that on your desktop. I'm going to do that right now. Okay? And this database has all of the tables that we're going to be using in our cases. Now, let me encourage you before you get to class next Tuesday to take a look at the Introduction to Database Software. That's over on pages 133 to 148. And you'll see a lot of the information about how to set up access, how that's done, etc. And so I really encourage you to see that. Now, a lot of that I will also cover in the case, and so I'm going to be doing it in class. Again, remember, this is not, under any circumstances, a substitute for going to class. It just isn't. Okay, and also you need to have your textbook with you. So I sent you an email and said, you want to take a look at this video, maybe before class if you care to. I'll make the link to it visible after. I'll send you an email. Again, this is not a substitute for class. I can't say that enough, and I'll put that in the email that I send to you. Now we're going to work on case number 1, which is over on page 149, and this is Northampton Abrasives. And this has just got some basic kinds of things like table setup for that type of business. And so we're going to open up this database. We'll click Enable Content, okay? And you'll see all the tables that we're going to be using. Okay, let me go ahead and annotate and put on my spotlight on my mouse. And you'll see this are the tables. All databases, and I'll talk about this class, have 4 parts, basically 4 parts: tables, queries, forms, and reports. And we'll talk about those, and the textbook covers those things in pages 133 to 148. Anyway, we're going to look for the table that goes with this case, and as we scroll down here, we're going to find Northampton, case number 1, and we're going to open it up. And so we'll right-click and click Open. Okay, let me move this a little bit out of the way. Now, you can see here that this case, that this table, excuse me, a table is a place in a database where we store everything. And this table has the ID of our customers, company as a customer ID, the company, their address, etc. All this type of information up to including the last order. Okay, last time they placed an order with us. Now, one of the tasks that they want us to do is complete that. And if you take a look over on page 149 in your book, you'll see where they have that 148 tells them about the types of products that they provide, etc. These folks make abrasives, and they produce 3 products primarily, and they've got that listed over there. You see, I'm looking at the text. They have they provide sanders, grinders, and then other types of products for people who use abrasive types of machinery, things that like sandpaper, belts, and so forth. And they give us some, as usual, they give us some examples about, and I'll have to adjust this a little bit, about the company, some information about the company, etc., some problems they've gotten, and so forth. They're in the middle of page 151. They tell us the important fields for the system, and these are the fields that should be in the table. Are the company, the address, the city, the state, the zip, the last name of the client, the first name of the client, what department. This is a list of clients, the last order date, and they've got some things in there like product group and spouse name and let's see what else. Order pattern. They don't have the order pattern in there, and so we need to increase that. We need to include those. Now, let's start with the very first one, the product group. Okay. Now, if I'm in a table and I want to add a column to it, these are fields, what we call, or information, that what we call dimensions. And this is just something about our customers we need to know. And so I'm going to right-click it, and you'll see a thing called Design View. As you scroll down here, you'll see this thing called Field Properties. And right after last order, I'm going to put product group, all caps. And you'll notice that many of them are underscored, and this is a naming convention. You need to put the names all together or use an underscore when you link more than 2 words. And I'm just going to put them together. Product group. Okay. And I'm going to call that short text. Okay. And then we also are supposed to have a thing called order pattern, so we'll add that in. Go back here for a minute. And we'll put short text there. Okay. So we have these things called the product group and the order pattern, and we've added these. And if you look down here, you're going to see, I'll click on product group. You'll see a thing called field properties. And you'll notice we have the data type. In this case, it's short text. And a real database, you'd have a description. What does this field mean? What does that information I put in that field mean, that column? Then we have the order pattern. Okay. I want to show you something right here. If you click on the ID, you're going to see a little key there, and this is a primary key. This means this is a unique identifier that makes every record unique. The reason we call these relational databases is simple. Okay, and let me adjust my screen a little bit. And I'm gonna stop sharing here for just a second. Let me get this up here for a sec. I want to pause this share for a minute. And I'm going to go back to, I want to go back to a full screen here. So and I'll go back this just a second. As I said, I'm still, I'll stop the share, and I'm back. Now I did this so I could just take a moment and playing around with this. I'm playing around with this stuff, so I'm kind of learning. Sorry, you're a bit of a guinea pig. Nonetheless, that primary key, the little key there, indicates that that is a column that, or a field that makes that record completely unique. And because we have unique records, we can take that primary key, as it's called, and put it into another table, and then it becomes something we call a foreign key. And so we can have two tables, one we call a parent and the other we call a child, and we can link them up because we match the two primary keys, and we link up those two tables, and then we can run what we call a query. That's just nothing more than a question, and we can get the data from those two or more tables. Well, I'm going to go back to the screen share. Okay, and go back to the desktop. And here we see that primary key. Now, I'm going to go ahead and annotate this mouse, hopefully so it helps a little bit. And, you know, I think it does. And remember, we added those two columns in here. The state, the zip. Okay. And the product group. Now, let's go back up, and this will, when we go back up here, this will ask us to save this table, and we'll say, yeah, we want to save it. And you'll notice over here we've got some data, or product group and order pattern that we haven't filled them out, okay? And to do that, we can create a thing called a lookup table. And so we're going to start with the product group. Okay. And so I'm going to click create, and you'll see a thing at the top of the toolbar called the table design. And I'm going to put this group ID. Okay. And then we'll get a thing here called product. Move this out of the way. ID. And then we'll get a thing called product description. Okay, and then we'll make that short text. Now the group ID, we're going to make that and what we call an auto number. That's an automatic number. And so each time we create a product group, it'll be not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. And that's a way, again, to make a unique identifier for each product group. So we're going to go and we'll save this table by going up to the view. And we're going to call this product group. And I'm just going to call it product group, because that's what it is. And it says we're at no primary key. So let's cancel this for a minute, and I'll show you how to make a primary key. I'm going to click right here. Then you see primary key right up here on the left. Boom. Now I have a primary key. Now we'll save the table, and it's called product group. And we can put some data in here, and the product ID, group ID is going to be one. And the product ID, we're going to do, they do 3 types of products. And this is going to be G, and I'm going to put in parentheses, grinder. Okay, and then we have a product description. Yeah, and I'll tell you what we're going to do. Let's just put grinder over here, and we'll put product ID. Let's call this grinder small, whatever. Okay, and not small, but small. In fact, we'll call this a small grinder. We're not through here yet, so and we'll call this as you can see, I can go into each field and I can work. I'm going to call this G01. Okay, and then then they also have Sanders. And we call it S01, and I'm going to call that a small sander. Okay, and then we had also, I'm going to call this O01, other product. Okay, and we've created this lookup table. Now let's close this off for a second. All right. Now we're back in the Northampton table, and I'm going to show you how we're going to use that lookup table. So click right click the table, and you'll come down to a thing called Design View, and here we are. And we're down here and click on product group, okay? It says the field name is product group. And I'm going to click on the lookup tab. And then where it says display control, I'm going to click here, and I'm going to click combo box. Okay? And it says the display control is a combo box, a row source type, okay? What type of data? I'm getting it from a table or query. And then you'll see this thing called row source. Take your cursor and follow all the way over and click here. And you'll get a query builder. And I'm going to click close. Okay. And I'll click show tables, excuse me. And I want to find the product group table. And there it is. Okay. And I want to get the product ID. Okay. And the product description. Now, you'll see at the top it says run. I'm going to click run. And now I'll close this off. It says, yes, I'm going to make these changes. As I come down, you're going to see it says bound column 1. I'm going to leave that. It says column count 2. And then you come down to this where it says column widths. Okay. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to put 1 inch, semicolon, 2 inch. And I'm going to click the very top right view. You'll see you want to save this. Yeah. Save the table. And let's scroll over here now and take a look at our lookup and see what we've done with, if anything, if it's done us some good, and it should have. And I'm going to click this very first one, and notice what this has is this gives me basically a drop-down menu, okay, that lets me choose the product group. Okay, now I've got product group GL1, okay. I've got product at SO1, product O01, and you can see if and the nice thing is if I get confused about what does this actually mean, I can always click on here and it will tell me the name of the product. Okay. Now at the top, now I'm going to close this off. Pardon me. I'm going to go back to the design view. You'll see the little designer thing up at the top left, right under File. Click that and we're back. Now product group, I'm going to rename that, and I'm just going to call that product. Okay? And we'll go back up, far left where it says view, bam, I'll save it, and it gives me my products. And the nice thing is I know the product group and I know what they are. You say, so I could add in tables, etc. Yes, I could. And in fact, we have done task number 7, which is over there on page 152. So we've already jumped ahead and done that. The order pattern is another thing where where we can use a drop-down menu. And in that case, we'll want to create an order pattern table. So I'm going to close this. Okay, and we're going to click Create. You'll see Table Design, and I'm going to put a pattern ID. Now I'm going to make that a primary key. Click right here, and then click the key, and then I'm going to put the pattern. And pattern description. I'll move this over so you can see it. And I'm going to use short text there. Now, I'm ready to go ahead and save this table. I have a pattern ID, that's the primary key. I have a pattern. And then I have pattern description, so we'll click up here and save the table. And we're going to call this order pattern. Okay. Now the pattern ID on the pattern, I'm going to put I. And let's go back for a minute. You see I'm getting a problem here with this pattern ID, and let's go back to the design view on it. I'll make that number 1. And then on the pattern description, see, because it was a primary key, it wanted us it's a primary key. It said you got to put a value in there, so we put 1. And the pattern here is I, and this is increasing. In fact, for the pattern, let's put IN. Now that means increasing. Okay. And then for pattern number 2, we'll put DEC, R, and that's decreasing. And then for pattern ID number 3, we'll make that ST, meaning stable. Okay? And we'll right click and we'll save the table, and we're done with it. Now, before we close that, I want to go back into the design view, and I can go in by right clicking the tab and then go down to design view, or I can go up in the far left. I've got either one. I'm going to go to the design view, and on that pattern ID, on the type of value, I'm going to make that auto number. Okay. It's going to let me. Well, it's not going to let me, but it is required. If I come down to the data field properties, it's required, so I'm okay. The table, there we go. And now we have our order pattern table. Now I'm going to come back to Northampton table. I'm going to open it up. Go into where it says tables, I click open. And we're doing some work with tables today. And I'm going to go last order. You'll see the product. You see now, with that, the way I designed that lookup, it allows me to go ahead and squinch that down. Okay, and still, if I want to see, I can scroll over here and see what that product, the full description of it. Now, in this order pattern, I'm going to have to go ahead and do another lookup table. So I'm going to go to design view, and I'm going to come down to order pattern, and then I click the lookup tab where it says display control. I click there. I'll click combo box. Now I've got row source type, and then the row source itself. That's the third one. I click there, and notice I've got a little 3 dots. I'm going to click on that, and that takes me to the query builder, and I want to use the order pattern table. There it is. I'll add it. Okay. And I'm going to get the pattern. See, I'm double clicking, it shows up down there here in the field area. Pattern description, and then I'll run the query, and it shows me IN is increasing, decreasing, or stable. I'll close that. Say yes, we're good with that. And there's the SQL right there in row source. You could see the SQL, which underlies that query that we put together, we saw visually. Now I'm going to go back up to view, which I can to the data view. I can either right click the tab and then go choose data sheet view, or I can go in the very top left corner and go to view. Save the table, yeah. Now I'm going to come over here. Okay, we've just been building the table, and I'm going to choose order pattern. Now I messed myself up because I didn't describe these. So I'm going to go back in to the design view on order pattern, and you'll come down, it says bound column 1. It says column count, and here I should have made 2. And then on the column width, I'm going to do 1 inch, semicolon, 2 inches. And then I'll save that table. And the easiest is just to go to data sheet view. There it is. And again, like it was before, I have this, I can stretch it out. So if I want to see, it will show me, and I'll put that in. And I can look at the lookup, and then I can scrunch this back down so I don't have to take up too much space. And I've got the order patterns. You can see I've saved this table, okay? So I've done number 7, and I've actually really done number 1 as well. And they tell us to put in some new fields and stuff, and we're going to do that, okay? And we'll come down here to number, we're just going to do one of them, and we're going to call this, I'm going to take all caps off. We're going to call this Kruger, Kruger Company. Now, I bet you know where I'm going with this, don't you? This will be 666 Elm Street, as they say, right there in Shawnee, Oklahoma. You see it for the state, okay? And the zip code would be 74804. And the last name is, of course, Kruger. The first, and Kruger. And the first name, of course, is Freddie. And we'll scroll across here, and we need his department is executive, is the office. And his last order was on 6/6/2006. Get my drift? And we'll put in a product. He had a grinder. We had another type of product. That's a little creepy, isn't it? And the order pattern, thank goodness gracious, the order pattern for Freddie is decreasing. And so we added in, you see we added in that order. Now, because it's an auto number, if we went down to add another record, okay, this would go, that would become number 27. Okay. So we'll save the table and then baptize it by closing it. And we can even click close all, or we can click the X to close the table. Doesn't matter. Now we've pretty much constructed the table as they wanted to. And I'm going to stop the sharing here for a minute. I'll pause the sharing. Okay, and I pause sharing the screen, and I want to go back now to I'm going to have to get better at this. I'll just show that larger active speaker video. Anyway, and then I'll close this back down, I guess. I'll figure this out. It's kind of learning as we go along. What we just did is we built the table, okay, where we store all the information. We did some advanced things like lookups and so forth. And this is stuff we'll be doing in class with a lot more explanation and a lot more time. So again, if this feels a little rushed, it is. This is just simply to supplement what happens in class. So as I told you, you could go into Moodle. I have the link there for you to see. You can look at it before class. I recommend that you do, as well as looking at the text materials I mentioned. And then again, after class, you look at it. But don't use this as a substitute for class. It will not help you. You won't get everything you need to understand. And that's why we're having the class. If I felt like that, you know, I wanted to do the whole class like this, I could, but I'm not, okay? So I'm going to click on this and go to a smaller, hopefully smaller video. There we go. Now I'm still back on the share, and I'm going to resume that. And you should still be able to see, wait a minute here. Resume the share. You still should be able to see the file. And so We're going to run some queries, and here in this, we're going to run query number 1. They're on task 3 on page 152. They ask us to run a query. This will be a pretty simple one. All right, and I'm going to click create. And I'm going to move these out of the way so I can see what we're doing. These are a little bit problematic. Okay. And I'm going to click query design. And you should see the tables we're going to work with. And we're going to work obviously with the Northampton case 1 table. So I'll add it and then click close. So here's the table I'm going to use. And here are all the folders, pardon me, all the columns, i.e. the fields or attributes that I'm going to use. Now here at the top, page 152, they say, Alicia Martin, they want you to do some addition. They want to change a little bit of data there in the table. Don't mess with that. And then on task number 4, don't mess with that, printing an entire table. We'll talk about that some in class. It's just simply running a report, and it's kind of clumsy. And we'll do that here in a minute. This is print all the records, but only include the following fields. So we'll do that here in just a minute. We're going to run this query. This is task number 6, and we want to get a list of all of our clients in Kansas City. So we're going to get company, city, okay. And they wanted the clients. They want the client's first name. So we'll go back up here. We'll get their first name. Then we'll get their last name. And what else did they want? Title. And I don't remember if they even put the titles in here. I guess they didn't. Let's put in the department, because I think we were supposed to add a title. So we won't worry about that. And then we want to add the city. That's what I forgot to do, is have us add the titles in. No big deal. You want to add the title, just go in and add the field called title and fill her up with people's titles. Okay. So this is Northampton case 1. And now we're ready to run the query. Now, before we do that, I'm going to come down here to a thing called the criterion. And on this minute for a second, I'm going to turn the spotlight off, if I can. And, well, it's not cooperating. My apologies. But nonetheless, in fact, what I needed to do is, I'm being silly here. First thing I need to do is resize this. Then I'll resize this up. And here where it says criteria, you're going to see a lot. It says criteria. I'm going to put Kansas City, because I want everybody from Kansas City. All right. And then I'm going to run this, and this will show me everybody that I have from Kansas City. This is task number 3. Now this query, I'm going to save it, and I'm going to call it task 3. In fact, even better, I'm going to call it case 1 task 3. And let's let's get the naming conventions. Let's call this case 1 task 3 and put it all together. Otherwise, we have to use underscores between those letters. And so there it is. Now, when I look at this, I can see this Kansas City, Kansas City, Kansas City. Okay, let's get rid of that. It's easy to do. Go back into the design view of the query. Notice a query has a design view just like a table. And I'm going to uncheck that. Okay? Now, I'm going to check that, and then I'm going to put Kansas City. And let's go back up here. And this will show me all of the people out of Kansas City that I have. When I uncheck that, it suppressed that, although the search is still there. You don't believe me, we're going to go down into the bowels of this. And this is what we call the SQL view. Okay? And so we will go back up to the design view and then back up to the data sheet view. So you see we can dive down, dive back up, whatever we want to do in terms of this. Now, that's task number 3. Task number 4 is print a list of all the records in the table, but only include the following fields. So this will be task number 5. You see, we've done 1, we've done 3, we've done 2 and 1, we've done 7. Let's go ahead and do this task. Let's close this off. I'll save it, yes. Now, we want to create a table, a report, excuse me. So click create, and you'll see a thing over here that says report designs. Okay, and create report and report wizard, excuse me. And we'll click on the report wizard. Okay, and there we've got the report wizard, and we're going to use the Northampton. Now, we just want the following fields. This is from page 152, right? Task number 6. We want the company, so we'll click here and add it. We want the client's first name. Click here and add it. We want the client's last name. Add that. And then we want their title, which we did not get here. Okay? But let's get the order pattern just for kicks. And then let's get their last order. Okay? And we'll click next. And we're going to group these by order pattern. And we'll click next. And we want to put the company names in ascending order. You can see that. And we'll click next, next, and we'll preview the report. And as you can see, not everything is on one page. And this is where we have to go to a thing called the layout view. Right click it, it'll say layout view. And we have to start moving some of this stuff over, like the company name, like the company names, we'll move those. First names, we're going to kind of squinch these over. This becomes a little bit problematic. As you can see, it's a little bit awkward dealing with this. I'll put that up there so I can get over here to this. And hopefully I can. And we can change these, but you can see the report function here is very awkward because we still don't, we have the last name there. I want to be in layout view. And we're the order pattern. And we didn't have order patterns for all of them, so you'll see we've only got them at the bottom. So that's our report. Now, if we want to, we're going to go ahead and save this report. And we'll go to the report view, and then we'll close it off. Now, this report, how do you find it? Well, it's pretty simple. Let me move this back up here. I'll click on all access objects. This shows me the tables I've created, the queries I've created, and any reports. And there's the report. Okay, folks, that's pretty much a summary of what we did here. Several of those tasks that we had to do, we did them. We embellished them. We ran a query. We designed a report and created it. We did some work with a table because our main thing was to focus on developing tables. And if you really want to see the summary of everything, it's over there, of course, in database case number 1, which is Northampton Abrasives. That's page 149. Okay. I'm going to stop the sharing. Okay. And I will end this here recording and end the meeting, and hopefully you'll take a look at this. Sorry it was a little rough, but we're kind of playing around. As you can tell, I'm at home. It's spring break. I'm working. What are you doing? Are you working on school? Probably not. But you're doing whatever activities you're supposed to do. You're young. Enjoy yourselves. Enjoy your spring break. Okay? Anyway, my folks, you can hear my phone going off. What can I say? So I'm going to end the meeting and see you next week.